Okay, a very, 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 very good evening to you. I'm Rasheed Ogunlaru. I am author of Soul Trader, Putting the Heart Back into Your Business. I'm a life coach, I'm a business coach, I'm a motivational speaker. And for about the last 10, 11, 12 years, I've been my own boss. And I've worked with many people who are on that journey to be their own boss, or who already are their own boss. Today's webinar is called Soul Trader, Your Life, Your Business. So what I'm going to be sharing is the 7 Soul Trader steps to help you build a business that you and your customers will love by being authentically yourself. And that's really basically the essence of this. When I wrote the book Soul Trader, I felt as though lots of business books didn't chime with me. Lots of things that were out there didn't chime with me because they'd start off with the finance or they'd start off with logistics and so on, but they didn't seem to start off with the heart. They didn't seem to start off with the personal side. So I wrote that book. I wrote the book to show that you could do business a different way. And the way is these 7 steps that we're going to go through this evening. Clarity, being clear of who you are and what you want, why you're here, know what your purpose is. It says in the clarity chapter, this opening chapter will help you first develop insight. You will need to be clear on who you are, what you want, and what you're about. Then you will need foresight to develop the clarity, your vision, the mission, to set the path ahead and to begin to see and discover what makes you unique to others in the marketplace. Finally and crucially, this chapter will help you to stay clear, to be yourself, planning and development. It will help you to foster awareness of what is important to adjust to and sometimes to avoid some of life's challenges and changes. Look at this chapter whenever you need to remember, reconnect, reconsider, review, and reset your goals. So this clarity chapter is absolutely clear. So we can start with clarity. We're then going to look at customers, which is chapter 2. Who are your customers? How do they see the world? Then we're going to look at courage. It's going to take courage to go on that journey. Maybe it's taken courage to get where you are already. Then we're going to look at cooperation, because you can't do it all by yourself. Then we're going to look at conversations, because everything's a conversation. You, your website, your social media, all of those things are a conversation or an invitation for one. Then we're going to look at creativity. Are you being creative? You know, business is all about being creative, and sometimes you need to be resourceful and resilient. Then we're going to look at compassion. How is it that you're able to do what you're wanting to do compassionately? How is it you're able to look after yourself? And finally, the ace in the pack is change, because everything's going to change. That's really the basic journey of the Soul Trader. And this is really a cyclical journey. And so the idea is that you might need to zoom in at any of these points, anywhere along your journey. So just a few things that you might want to have handy if you're taking part in tonight's webinar, if you're watching it back on playback. Most people tend to watch it back on playback. You might want a notebook, you might want to have a pen. If you're lucky enough to be watching this back on playback, then one of those handy things might be your pause button. And it might be that you might want a couple of other things with you. If you've got a diary, it might be an old paper diary, or it might be that you're wanting to use a tablet or your smartphone or whatever, so that you can make notes as you go along. That's absolutely fine. And I just saw myself live on there. That was a bit spooky. Okay, so those are the things you're going to need for tonight. I'm mindful that you might be watching this, and it might be that you are either thinking about or starting out your own business, or indeed that you've been in business for a long period of time. Wherever you're on this journey, you're going to find this of use. And just finally to add that this webinar, I'm running it specially here to coincide with the return of my Soul Trader, Your Life, Your Business workshops, the British Library's Business and IP Centre. Among the hats I wear is that I'm the business coach, the British Library's Business and IP Centre, where I run a workshop once a month called Networking for Success. I also used to run a workshop called Soul Trader, Your Life, Your Business. So if the things today here chime with you and you're wanting to take that further, then I highly recommend the workshop that you'll find in the British Library's Business and IP Centre. Next date is the 18th of May, and then it's the 23rd of September. Then we've got a date in December, which I think was the 12th of December. And then it's quarterly, then the next date is in 2017 after that. But again, you could just go on soultrader.biz, soul-trader.biz for all of those details. But let's get to work. Let's get into the seminar. So let's start off with clarity. Clarity. Can you see that? Clarity. You can see there's a telescope there. So I want to ask you a few questions. Where are you right now in your life? Are you in business? Are you thinking about it? Are you starting out? How long have you been in business? How long have you been thinking about it? What's really important to you in your life? What's important to you personally? What's important to you professionally? What is it that you're passionate about? Write these answers down. If you've got the Soul Trader book will prompt you to this. But just sit with these questions. Why are you in business? Why are you starting about thinking of running a business? Write that down. For me, part of it was that I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be the master of my own destiny. Things in the workplace didn't chime with me. I'd had a number of difficulties. I'd been made redundant, and then I'd had problems where effectively I felt as though I'd been pushed out of the workplace. In the end, those things were a blessing for me. But also I was discovering new things. I had an interest in, first of all, in music and so on. I had an interest in personal development. So lots of these things shaped me. So lots of those things will help you be clear about why it is you're doing what you're doing. What's it you're really passionate about? Can you see a clear link between the things you're passionate about and your business or your business idea? The one thing I would say here is if there's a separation between what you're passionate about and what your business, the business that you're running or you're thinking about running is, that might be something that you need to somehow bring together. I find as a coach, the magic happens when all the different things that resonate with you are brought together. That tends to be the journey of the Soul Trader. So for me, the fact that I'd always loved to write, I'd always loved communicating, then I became passionate about media, and then I became passionate about singing and performing, and in between I'd been a Samaritan volunteer, and then became interested in being my own boss. When I became a life coach, it presented itself with an opportunity for me to bring all these things together as it developed. Because I realized, I can be a coach and I can be a motivational speaker and I can speak and write about these things in the media. So what I do now brings all those things together. The writer, the speaker, speaking to you now, the performer, this is performance, giving talks and workshops is performance. The thing about helping people in their lives and their careers and development, this webinar, they all come together, and so they're authentically that they all chime together. So what's your story? When I'm coaching many people, I say this often, I go to the About Me page on the website. I usually find them lacking. Your story isn't there. You're telling your story. You're saying why it is that you set up your business. I'm thinking about a number of people I coached recently, and very often we'll tease that out. Why? Their story. Are you saying that? So it's important that you're clear, you're telling that story, and so on. So that's about clarity. Clarity. So you're becoming clear, and it's one thing being clear, and it's another thing that I say staying clear. Now, for those of you who have been in business for some time, you're going to know that there's going to be so many challenges. I was running a workshop. I was running the Welcome workshop for the British Library's Innovating for Growth workshop. So these are people who've been in business for some time, and they're doing really well. They're turning over a large amount of money, and the business is doing well. There's a lot of demand for what they're doing. But that lot of demand brings with it new demands. And many of them will talk about things like motivation, making sure they have time for themselves. And the thing is that you need to remain clear. What's important to you in your life? How much time do you need for you? How much time do you need to reflect on business? So my first tip here is putting in a little bit of time for you. I always say that if you don't put in the you things into the diary first, they won't happen. For me, first thing I do every morning is pause and be grateful for the fact that I'm here, that I'm alive. And then I'll sometimes gently scan through the day and think, what's really important for me to do today? And then I'll get up. So starting from a place of gratitude. So it's about taking that time. What's the time you need? It might just be 10 minutes every day or what have you. What's the time you need to stay clear? What's the time that you're going to need to reflect on the business? Of course, there can be times it's very busy, so that's why I often recommend quite a short period of time. And then there might be just incidental times where you're going to need to clear the head, get out and about. That's clarity. So you're clear, or I invite you to kind of listen back to that, or you might want to read the clarity chapter in Soul Trader. By the way, as far as clarity is concerned, you can download the first chapter for free on soultrader.biz. And if you go to soul-trader.biz and you go to the book page, you'll be able to download that for free. So that'll help you to get clear. Let's move on then now to the second step, customers. So it's all very well that I'm clear. Can you see I'm clear what I'm doing? Okay, I've got now this telescopic view. But so what? Who are my customers? What do they want? What does this bit say? So this bit says, your own perspective and wishes are not enough. Business is all about serving your customers and your marketplace. This second chapter helps you understand the types, desires, drivers, fears, and needs of your potential customers so that you can find, connect to, serve, and keep them. Together with clarity, it provides the base for the rest of the book and your journey. This chapter also reminds you to keep your customers in sight and in mind and in your heart, to develop strong, sustainable business that your customers will love and will tell others about. Visit this chapter when you're starting, diversifying, or developing products and services, or when you are keen or need to enter new markets and engage and relate to present and potential customers. So this is really important. Who are your customers? What do they want? That's a deeper question than it appears on the purely on the surface. I might be running a flower shop. This is an example like in the Soul Trader book. And I think, well, I just provide flowers. But who are the customers? What are their different scenarios? I always think it's very useful to think about what are those different scenarios when people come to you. There's some people who come for flowers for their birthday. Some people, because they remembered it, some because at the last minute they've forgotten. So different, maybe motivation. Maybe somebody else, it's a funeral. Maybe somebody else, it's to brighten up their home. Maybe it's to give somebody as a gift, as a present. So these are all different scenarios of why people might buy the flowers from you, and they're all very, very different, the scenarios and the drivers. So you need to understand those customers. So you need to go out there and chat to those potential people. I've been coaching somebody who's planning to set up a natural healthcare products business, including soaps and so on. Who are your customers? One type of person wants natural products because they've got a skin allergy. Another person wants those products because they care about the environment. Somebody else cares for those products because they have ethical concerns. They're very different. Are they male? Are they female? What age are they? What stage are they at? It's going to therefore develop a completely different conversation. Those of you who've already got customers, have you asked them, why did they come to you? What did they expect? What did they actually get? What do they really value about you? I think the thing that turned my business around big time was, even though I knew this stuff kind of strategically, it was about probably about 5 or 6 years in. And even though I knew in theory, it's all about your customers and putting your, taking off the hat of being you and becoming a customer, I knew all of that, but I didn't really deeply embrace it. And now I just really take that time to talk to people, find out who they are, find out what their issues are, find out what their concerns are. So you might need to do some actual research about this, but actually do it in real time. Just talk to people, what's really important to them, what are their desires, what their fears. You need to know what their drivers are. Then just to add that to clarity, how many customers do you need? What kind of customers also do you enjoy working with? Maybe you're in your business, maybe you've been in business for some time, so you need to know about the numbers. How many customers do you need? What number of sales? What's the process that it takes to get a customer? What's the cost of obtaining a customer in terms of the resources, the tools, and so on, the advertising, the marketing, all of these things. And some of that, of course, you're going to find out over a period of time, especially if you're starting. But beginning to think about the numbers and the type of customers that you want, the blend of customers you want. So, for example, in my work, I have a blend between workshops, talks, one-to-one customers, and they all pay different amounts of money. They all have different value attached to them, and might be different clients who have different financial resources to do that. So all of that kind of stuff is giving you the raw data to help you become mindful about your customers. There's more about that in the Soul Trader book to help in terms of to zoom in on your customers. But I'd say for those of you who, if you're starting out, do that research, find out from people what they actually want, build that dialogue, which is going to help you to begin to gain customers and really help you save a lot of time and money. Those of you in business for some time, really think about, do you like working with all your customers? Do some of those customers need to go? I was having a chat with somebody who runs an IT-related business a while ago, a wonderful person, and there were some of our customers that just don't chime with that, so we had to zoom in. What kind of customers do you want? What kind of customers don't you want? And to make sure that we articulate the conversations that we can come onto soon so that they're apt. So that's your customers. But it's important to ensure that you don't just gain them, but that you keep them. But it's also worth realizing that they will move on, they will have different times and different scenarios in which they need you. I think, in particular in this age whereby people are so busy and so on, I know that very often customers will come to me at a point when they are in, there's a challenge, they are in transition personally, they've lost their job, they've been made redundant, they need to motivate their staff team, their organization's going for a restructure, so that's when they call me in. So I don't get offended or upset. They don't open my emails, if they don't read my blogs, if they don't tune into my webinars, I don't get upset. I understand that they will come to me when they need me. But it's important that you, when you're there with your customers, you have that dialogue and you're available and open, you understand what their language is and you're responding to what they need. And the marketplace will change over time. And what you can offer and where you fit best will change over time. Next up is courage. Courage is step 3. Business is a journey that will include degrees of challenge, competition, change, conflicting demands, and uncertainty. It's not for the faint-hearted, you bet. This chapter will help you to discover your inner strength, courage, and inspiration, and will help you carry you through. By tapping into your courage and staying true to your heart, the challenges and experiences that you gather will help you to arrive at deeper wisdom and even more powerful ways of serving your customers. That is so, so true. Courage. Where do we even start with courage? I want you to think about what times in your life have required courage. Write them down. What times in your life and your career required courage? How did you find that courage? Was it already there? Did others help you find that courage? Did the events strengthen you or push you or stretch you? So you had to find that courage. So even though you didn't have time, you couldn't think about it, you just had to respond. This is really important because the business journey will bring with it many, 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 many challenges. There are the external, the events, the economy, the environment, customers, suppliers, where things go wrong or they don't go right or how you expected them to expect. There'll be things going on in your own life, those life stages, loved ones, people getting older, people being born, relationship issues, challenges, other kind of stuff that is going on in events. And they're all part of it. And sometimes these things also will inform you and make you the person that you are. And so for me, and it's well documented in the book, Soul Trader, that I had to have the courage to trust that, when I started my business, my coaching career, I had a wonderful training course, and as I've said to a number of people, I found myself writing this book called The Gift of Inner Success. And it's about all these things, trust, love, energy, flow, and all these things that didn't have anything to do with goal setting. Of course, that went on was wonderful, but I felt that there's also something else. And so my very first product over time came from that courage. I had to find the courage to write it. I found the courage to send it out first of all. Nobody was interested. I remember even a year and a half later, I got a letter from a publisher, just a simple letter saying basically we weren't interested. So I could have sent it back straight away. But there you have it. But this was the birthplace of me being who I am. The second CD I produced was called Become Who You Are, and Become Who You Are is the tagline for my business. And it took courage to do that, and just trusting myself. I went in and I recorded it as I would record a music, which is of course my background before. And it came out as a stream of a stream of consciousness. I said it was my second CD because the first CD I had, I wasn't so courageous. It was very much a traditional kind of product, a typical goal-setting product. It didn't have anything extra for me in it, but this one did. And you know what? This is the CD that very often people say it really chimes with them, or the download talk as it is, the format it's in now, and that really chime with people. So I'm saying, if I didn't have the courage to trust that, I wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have then produced Soul Trader. I wouldn't have been able to produce Soul Trader. So for me, it was the courage to realize that. First of all, I was very worried. I thought, well, are people going to want to talk about this inner staff, trust, energy, flow, you know, all this kind of stuff? Are people going to think it's namby-pamby? That's my trademark now. It's made me what somebody might call successful, but that doesn't happen overnight. So I think there's something about being courageous in who it is that you are. Because otherwise you might achieve things, but it's not going to be nourishing to you. And there are going to be so many times where nothing's happening, where there's no money coming in, where nobody's interested, where nobody's responding. But that's okay if you know who you are and why you're doing it. And the Soul Trader is very aware who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. Courage to follow your own heart. That's what this is about. And to tell your own story. So going back to that thing about clarity, there's a link there between clarity and courage. Why you're doing what you're doing. And again, if that's something, if you're on that journey for more courage, you might find the Soul Trader, Your Life, Your Business workshop at the British Library very, very useful, or you might find the book, or the Coach Yourself course that you'll find on soultrader.biz, really useful if you want more resources. And again, there's lots of video stuff on the soultrader.biz YouTube channel. You might even be watching this, clicking it through to the YouTube channel. There's lots of other stuff. If you Google me, you'll find all sorts of other stuff. So there's all sorts of stuff to help you on that courage journey. So that's courage. And that's very deep. That's going to take you on your own journey to trust your own heart. It might take courage to stop, to diversify, and so on. But the Soul Trader works from the heart. Okay, so that's courage. We've covered the first three chapters. We've talked about clarity. We've talked about customers, haven't we? And we've talked about courage. The fourth step is cooperation. Can you see it there? I love that image. It's like a, like a troupe, trapeze act, circus act, whatever, the Cirque du Soleil kind of things. You know, they all depend on each other, like any kind of a team. As I say in the Soul Trader book, without, well, let's see what it says here in this introduction bit, cooperation. Everything's interrelated, independent, and ultimately one. What's more, you will need specific help, support, suppliers, staff, contacts to establish, run, and grow your business, sales, and profits. This chapter will help you to tap into your existing networks and to expand them and access and create new opportunities that will profit you, your customers, and others. Revisit this chapter when you are stuck, frustrated, or encountering challenges, and when you wish to extend or strengthen your business or network. Yeah. Can't do it alone. You need a team of people to help you. You need support. So in my Soul Trader workshop, I get people to do a really simple exercise. You could just take a piece of blank paper and you could divide it into two columns. On the left-hand column, write the word I have, and the right-hand column, write I need. I'll just demonstrate that for you now. And what we're going to do is you're going to list all the things, including contacts, connections, people, resources, money, support I have, and I need. Really simple. So you can list all the things that you have. So the piece of paper might be used to read from back there. The things that you have, and then the things that you need. You get the idea. You can work out, I have and I need. Everything. Okay, I've got this, I've got qualification this, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that. Okay, I need £5,000 for this, I need a website, I need this, I need that, I need that, I need access to this particular market. Or I have a website, I have this, I have that, I've got 20 customers, I have this, I have this. I need 5 more customers, I need to business premises that cover this amount of space, etc., etc. That just gives you clarity, first of all. Again, tying in that thing about clarity. But it then begins to help you think, okay, well, who in my network already has those skills and those resources? And how can I go up there? Some of the things are going to be already from your existing networks, and some of it you're going to need to build networks. So I think one of the things I find when I'm coaching people is that many people really struggle with this. In this era of social media where people might be so connected to so many people, they'll often struggle. When people come to my Sole Trader workshop at the British Library, or they come to my Networking for Success workshop, I'll often ask them, what their career background. Somebody say, I was in marketing, I was in advertising, I was a lawyer, I was an accountant, design, organisation, admin, and I'll ask them all, if you were all to help each other work on each other's business, could we make them a success? They say yes. I said, that's a room full of strangers. What about all the different people you know in your networks? What if you were helping each other? So that cooperation, what's the cooperation you need? I'm going to move on to conversation, because these 2 chapters go hand in hand, conversations. And let's see what it says here in conversations. It says, so this is chapter 5. This is principle 5 that will help you. Conversations. Customer conversion rather, relies on the right customer conversation. The right word will open the door, and the wrong word will slam it shut in your face. This essential chapter will help you to have rich conversations, leading to rich relationships and rewards. It will help you establish, sustain, and develop strong relationships and business, and let you pass when necessary. Let them pass when necessary. Consult this chapter when you need to pitch, present, persuade, and promote. It will help you to warmly approach and address customers, suppliers, and indeed family, friends, and supporters. But I love that picture that we put in there of, that hear no, see no, speak no kind of character. Because sometimes we have in the conversations, are we listening, are we speaking? Everything's a conversation on your website, or your lack of one, what you're saying when you're going out and meeting, or the fact that you're not going out and you're not networking, what you're saying on social media, or your absence from social media, what that's saying, what you say at events or conferences, if you're at them or not. So it's what you say, it's how you say it. And are you saying it in a way that really is relevant and chimes with your customer? I think it's really important to be, just a few tips here, clear, consistent, concise, and customer focused. All your communication should have that. And it needs to be compelling based on what it is that moves them. So my tip is, if you've got things at the moment, check everything. What does your website, what does your business card say? What's that saying about you? Do you have it? What are all your promotional materials like? Are they clear from your customer's point of view? Is it clear? Is it easy to follow? Is the language readable? I always say in my workshop, let's give it the intelligent 12-year-old test. Would an intelligent 12-year-old understand what you mean? But also, where is it you're coming from? You're coming from your heart. I was coaching somebody the other day, and they're running an event, and they're running an event for people in their industry, and they were thinking about where to house it. Their own organization's quite remote, and funny enough, I've been coaching them about influencing people, and they said, "Oh well," I said, "Well, why don't you ask this particular person who's a key industry figure who she knew and had got a good rapport with?" I said, why didn't you ask them? She rang me the next day. She'd got a particular venue for her event in central London, free of charge, because of the power of the conversation and the authenticity and the power of cooperation. So this is an example of how conversations and cooperation help. How can you help them? How will they help you? When I started off in business, I had very little money. My best friend created my website. Somebody else did my branding, who had some of my design, who I'd worked with before. I swapped skills. I coached a former boss. I coached this person. I coached that person. How is it you can swap? How else you can share? It might be you've got a product like mine. Coaching is very infinitely swappable. Or it might be you help people in other ways or other kind of introductions. The Soul Trader operates from this place of deep reciprocity, kindness and giving. So going back to that, have and I need, who are those people? How can you help them? And of course, it's going to require also you going out into the world and then you having conversations with new people. Do you mean? Things are going to shift, just like this light's going to shift. You know, the world's going to shift, so you're going to have to move. Don't expect everything to come all of a sudden purely to you. So that's that thing about kind of cooperation. And it's a dance. And you see, the magic happens when also your relationship with your suppliers and contacts and so on is that kind of a rich conversation where you're being very, very, where you're being very, very cooperative. Let's move on to, so we talked about cooperation, and we talked about conversations there. They so interchange, they interact, being cooperative, having the conversations again, finding out where people are at. You know, I think that I have a saying that communication is the breath or death of any relationship, so it's important to keep those conversations going. Next up is creativity. So we're up to chapter 7 here on our journey. So we're getting there and you're doing well. Remember, if you're watching this back, you might want to stop this, you might want to pause it and so on, so that you can consider lots of the stuff that we're going through here. So creativity, let's just move this line a little bit more. Oh, I think that's a little bit better. Creativity. So it's saying, oh, we might even get a bit creative with the line. No, it says creativity. I'm just playing with you. Business is about creativity, inventiveness and adventure. But so often soul traders forget this. This chapter helps remind you of your magic. It helps you explore what works for you and how it is that you work at your best in order to become more effective, exciting, and engaging. Play with this chapter when you need to focus to get organized and productive, or when you need to bring fun, freedom, balance, and flexibility into your life. I was running a workshop earlier today and asked people this question: what's it they're like at their best? And getting them to draw a picture of what they were like at their best. I think I throw that exercise in the Soul Trader book, if I'm not mistaken, and to write 20 words of what they're like at their best, just to help them understand. Because you need to understand what times of the day you're your best. What times of the day you're your best for creative projects? What time are you best for things like the finance side of your business? What time are you best to work with customers? In my particular case, I'm best at doing kind of the very logical stuff, the writing. If I've got proposals to do or customer inquiries to deal with, very first thing in the morning, probably between 6 o'clock and 8:30 a.m. I can coach, I can give talks and all that kind of stuff at any time. It's so natural to me. It's like breathing to me. It's very, very easy to me. But those other things I can only do at some point today. What times of the day you're at your best? What environments are you your best? Are you best outside, you best indoors? If you're best outside, then why are you spending all the time indoors? If you can control that in terms of your business, or it might be that you can allow a little bit of that time. What is it that makes you energized? Are you having time for the stuff that nourishes you? So prior even to you being a business person, you are a person. What is it that nourishes you? Are you getting the food, drink, the nourishment you need? Are you getting the time off you need? Are you going to sleep the right time? One of my contacts, really lovely contact of mine's just written a new book, which is going to be published soon. In fact, we've interviewed him on soultrader.biz, Adam Cox, and he's you know, one of his latest newsletters and so on was saying, you know, that people, a couple of things to give you energy: going to sleep on time and making sure you get enough water. I'll be going to sleep on time after this, and I need to make sure I'm hydrated. You know, it's about understanding yourself, understanding your body, understanding your spirit, what works for you. And so for me, it's also, some of that is quite intuitive. I listen to my instincts. And sometimes it would seem on paper I should do one thing, but I listen to my heart and I'll do it another way. I was running a workshop in the NHS today, And it's an exercise I've got people to do to listen to each other and so on. And I asked them to do an exercise to kind of give really positive feedback to somebody they'd never met. And somebody asked me, how are you going to do it? And I pointed out how, in your job, when you get, there's years and years of training, or there's a long period of time of training, but then how sometimes then there's that intuition that you just know over a period of time. Yeah. There's something about that, about knowing yourself, what works for you, and just listening. And the more and more you do what you do, you create what you do, whether it's a service or whatever, the more it does. If you listen, you'll become more in tune. I have a saying that this saying came to me, in fact, if you listen closely enough to life, it will whisper its secrets to you. So trust. There's a lot of tips in the Soul Trader book. If you are interested in this stuff about creativity, it's the longest chapter in the book because there's also some structural things in there. So, for example, I introduced a 2-page business plan in this chapter. Let me know how clearly you can see that. And you can get that on for free on the soultrader.biz. So, the question here is what degree of structure do you need? What degree of freedom is it that you need in order to support you? So there's the 2-page business plan there. There's a SWOT analysis. There's an exercise where we break the year into quarters. What times of the year are going to be best in your industry for this and that. It might be that you need to structure your day. I remember once coaching a guy and said, Rasheed, I've just started my business, but actually what am I supposed to do day to day? And so we came up with a timetable and a diary. So some of you might need more structure. Some of you might need a little bit more freedom and serendipity. Trust your heart. Trust your instinct. We're nearly there. We're heading to the final segments of this. Compassion is the second to last chapter. Love you. Love you, love what you do. And love us too is the mantra of this chapter. Compassion and its source, love, are words that are not often used in business, but they are qualities that will elevate you from running a business on stress, fear, sweat, and tears to one that is flowing from a place of openness and possibility. Visit this chapter if you are lost, overwhelmed, or burned out, when nothing seems to work. Love is the only tool that will serve you in every situation. Love. Being kind and compassionate. I've been having a long chat with somebody I do some leadership coaching with about being compassionate. Not that they're not compassionate at the moment, they are compassionate, but letting the heart lead the way. It's the heart that opens the door that the mind cannot. It's the person I was speaking to you about before, when they needed this particular venue to do things, they had a conversation with us. Because they're coming from heart, they were able to achieve things that somebody else who wasn't coming from heart, there's no way they're going to be able to do that. And so are you as a soul trader. If you're not yourself, people are going to first of all look through you and see a pale imitation of someone else. But also, when you are yourself, people think, I want to buy from her. I want to buy from him. There's something about him. There's something about products. And people will tell it's just like home cooking, where you can sell someone. There'll be something about your products that people want your products. Trusting your heart. Caring about your customers. Do you just care about your customers or the cash? I think that's really quite straightforward, but I want you to sit with that. You need to know why you're doing things, and you need to treat everyone with warmth, with kindness, with humility, with respect. That's what the soul trader does. There's no two ways about it. And I guarantee you, lots of people don't do that because I think, business, I've got to be really super tough and so on. But I have found the practical benefits from being kind and compassionate are incredible. So we've finished our 7 steps, but there's one more. Change. Can you see? It's like a changing season, it's a leaf. This concluding chapter of the book, in many ways, is the joker in the pack, or the ace that changes, or the ace that changes the game. Some hate change, some embrace it, some use it. Others don't know how to handle it or try to ignore it. But it will come. You will change. Technology will change. Your mind will change. Your customers will change. The economy will change. This chapter helps you stay mindful, aware, alert, fluid, free, and flexible. Read this chapter when you or things around you, your business or your environment, are at a point of transition, when you feel stuck or inspired to mix things up. Yeah. So again, I want to ask you this time question, where are you at right now? Maybe is there one thing that you need to change? Maybe let's change the lighting again at this particular point. Let's see if it works, if the change works. Because sometimes you need to play around with change a little bit, or embrace it, or not be kind of afraid to do all sorts of things with it in order to face that kind of change. The light is changing. I'm recording this in a summer evening. This room gets a lot of light, but all of a sudden as it gets darker, things change. So don't be afraid just to move things around just a little. And don't be thrown when life throws changes at you. Do you know what I mean? Just sometimes a change of perspective can change everything. But seriously, what's one thing in life and in business perhaps that you need to accept? And what's one thing perhaps that you want to change? So I'll get you to write that down. In your notebook there. What's one thing that you should change? You think, actually, no, I need to change that page on my website that does blah, 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 blah. Actually, you know what? I need to change the way that I'm beginning my emails, or to change, thinking I should have a far more, people have told me I should have an answering machine that does blah, 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 blah. What's one thing you should change? What's one thing that you should accept? That in itself is an outcome from this particular workshop. If you are at a point where you're thinking about going to business, then you are at a point of change. What are the things that need to be in place? And what are the things you can't quite guarantee that will be in place? Sometimes it might be the case that things are changing around you, and that is what is enabling you to do what you're doing. Funny enough, I was having a conversation with a wonderful contact of mine at the moment that she's having huge problems in the workplace, but this person is exceptionally talented, remarkable, admired within the community. And she's having problems in the workplace. And I said to her, well, and she's coming along fun enough to my next Soul Trader workshop. And I said to her, ideally, what would you do in this situation? Because of the problems at work. She said, what's funny enough, about a year ago, I was thinking of moving on and being my own boss. I said to her, well, and I shared the story of when I moved from doing what I did to being coaching. I said, sometimes it's life events that bring about that change. So sometimes the change will be the elements, the season itself changing that requires you to change. Sometimes that change will be something within you that is evoking the change. If you've been in business for some time and you're looking for change, what is that change? Are there people that you should be talking to can help you with that change, or people reaching out to? Or is it something that you can just slightly mix up that in itself is going to evoke change? Do you mean sometimes by you just doing something slightly differently, it's going to create a change? We are at the end of today's webinar. So we've gone on a journey where we've looked at clarity, customers, courage, cooperation, conversations, creativity, compassion, change. I just want to flag up a few things that might help you on your Soul Trader journey. If you're new to Soul Trader, you might want to visit soultrader.biz. That's soul-trader.biz. And there you'll find all sorts of tools, resources, monthly webinar, and all sorts of other stuff to help you. So that's soul-trader.biz. You'll find, as I said, the free chapter that you can download. We do a monthly podcast, in fact, sometimes more often monthly. You can subscribe to that on iTunes. You can hear it on the Soul Trader website. Check out this webinar, which we run once every month. And as I mentioned, you might also want to come and join me or see me in person with better light at the British Library's Business and IP Centre at King's Cross. You'll see all the dates for that on my Soul Trader website. I just want to wish you all the best in your business. And I just want to ask you one last question. What action is it you're going to take based on today's webinar? Take good care. See you soon. All the best. Bye.